Die. 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 Please, please, please.
So, here's this guy. He calls you boring and small and blasts your brains out with his laser beam. If you are a battle-handed SCSF veteran who eats Awakeners for breakfast, or an SC-trade demigod who disintegrates any boss just by looking at them, this guide is not for you. You may even find it laughable. Good. But if you are a new player who is on the precipice of meeting the final boss of the epilogue, or scrap, unironically pondering about getting an A5 carry, in this day and age, you are in the right place. Everybody knows that Awakener fight is all about the damage and not getting hit. But damage is pricey, and dodging is hard with carpal tunnel hands. So, the build in question should be tanky and dirt cheap. The only class who easily stacks pure spell block on a tight budget is Gladiator. It even got nerfed this league, so it is 100% ethical. Well, at least 75%. The more max block you get, the more ethical it is. But how are we going to gear a character that needs both block and life, when block doesn't work and also a 6th link to have at least a semblance of tickling damage? The cornerstone of the Pauper's build is the best pseudo 6th link with lots of life and built-in block, the Bringer of Rain. 2000 plus HP, and you don't even need to worry about unveiling those annoying syndicate block recipes, because you don't even have a chest. And Lanai's Remorse, of course. It's basically Kerm Roots, the shield, plus big block. I made 3 versions of budget estimates: full trait, semi-trait, and no trait. Yes, it is absolutely possible to gear SSF, but by the time you find Bringer of Rain, you'd probably get something better, like Tabula or an actual 6th link. And the whole build is just the showcase of how low can we go. If you can get all the rares by yourself, a sum of hard to get items will cost you as low as 5C. 1C for shield, 1C for helm, and from 3 to 10C for 300 PDPS X. I even saw a 2C for 321s. Prices deviate from day to day. If you want to just buy everything, then add another 1820C. Amulet, 2 rings, boots, glass, belt, 3 jewels, 2C for an item on average. So about 25C. 30C max. And here you can see an actual fierce ZDPS battle with the boss, and my actual gear and gem setup. Don't mind the mana leech jewel, I was too lazy to switch it. All its bonus resists don't matter, because the character was overcapped even without them. Gem setup. Almost all our gems are either red or green. That's pretty orky. We have a free link with Ancestral Protector, Brutality, and Wabana. Free link plus Socket, cause when damage taken, Inkdur, Tempest Shield, and Enduring Cry. 4 link for Lip Slam, Blood Magic, Faster Attacks, and Cullen Strike. Free link with Auras, Pride, Flesh and Stone, and Maim. And 4 link in the Bringer of Rain, Lacerate, Multi-Strike, Brutality, and Fortify. Gearing. The base formula of the build is kept resistances, block, life, and mana leech. For any generic rare you need to look for maximum life, resists, dexterity if necessary, movement speed on boots, mana leech on gloves, ring or jewel, life leech on amulet, ring or jewel, preferably big roll on amulet, chaos rares. For jewel you need to look for increased maximum life, double res, all res, chaos res, everything with dex, attack speed with one-handed, shield or axes. Speed is good, you jump faster. Chance to block attack damage while holding a shield. Increase global phys, increase damage with bleeding, plus % to physical damage over time multiplier. And if you didn't manage to find life and mana leech on other gear, you'll have to get 1 mana leech jewel and 1 life leech jewel. Mana leech jewel doesn't need to be paired with life mod. It's too pricey. Degrading the build. Do you miss attributes? Respect life nodes. Do you miss levels? Respect life nodes. Awakener still hurts. Remove watchstones. Awakener 0 literally tickles. Upgrading the build. For the love of Gork, get a Shoestring. Melee phys and deadly ailments go in. Low value raid bases, like Golden Plate, can be found for as low as 7C. Slammerfed grid essence on it. Does it have an open prefix? Good. Craft block. Want to go in further? Get a 6-link astral plate. Alt-regal until you have fat life and 2 resist suffixes. Slap a multimod. Slap avoidance. Slap block. Divine to perfection. Get full elemental avoidance setup. Craft suffixes on gloves and helmet. Prefix on body armor. The last 15% can be found either on shaper boots or crystal skin. You can also anoint it, but every other piece must have perfectly rolled avoidance. Get a corrupted blood jewel. This item alone skyrockets survivability. Get a better axe, either a big fizz damage one or an elder axe with okay damage and bleed mod. Get a soul tether with good roll. Every rare could be fatter when it is now. More life, more res, more attributes. Get chaos res. Get a vulnerability ring. Get fat vermilion rings. Get fat vermilion with vulnerability. Catalyze them. Get a better shield. Lionize remorse with block corrupt. The surrender. The surrender with block corrupt. Shaper shield with life block and % life on block. Shaper shield with % life on block and maximum resistances. There is also an option of Shaper Hunter shield with max res Hunter prefix and life on block Shaper suffix, if you are willing to spend a whole Awakener orb just to guarantee those mods. The possibilities are endless.
Corrupt the mod.
Get anoints, Command of Steel, Dirty Techniques, Testudo. Get a Timeless Jewel. The Riani's Glorious Vanity with Corrupted Soul is the best. Shibakwa for Divine Flesh is also fine, but only if you somehow manage to keep 80% Chaos Res. Get a Cluster Jewel setup. You'll need these, and they need to be perfect. It's a trade-off between damage and life, and you'll suffer a big life loss. Large 8-node Fizdem cluster with Battle Hardened, Master the Fundamentals, and any filler notable. 2 medium for 5-node Fizz damage over time clusters with Rend and Circling Oblivion. All of these prioritize Rend. As for the secondary choices, Wound Aggravation is fine for damage, and Exposure Therapy is good for Chaos Res. Note, large cluster with attack dam with shield is bad. It is full of void nodes that don't scale, bleed, and block notables are totally not worth it. The same goes to the small block clusters. Not worth. Regular 3 is better. Get 20 level gems. Flip them and level again. Get 21 level gems. Get awakened versions. Get enlightened for auras. For mapping, you will need an actual same Flask setup. To the instant anti-bleed life Flask, add granite, quartz, sulfur, adrenaline. Swap sulfur for enduring mana Flask if you're a mana-hungry gob. If you don't have elemental avoidance yet, get reduced charges on them plus warding, heat, dousing, and grounding. Craft a spare curing one for poison bosses. If you have elemental avoidance, you can get funny stuff like extra speed, attack speed, and increased armor on granite. You can also show up granite for roomies if you need to easily cap block, especially with the cluster setup. Leveling section. So, if you are having a fresh, naked start, the strat is the following. Rusted hatchet, jade hatchet, board and axe, cleaver, decorative axe, wrist chopper, ceremonial axe. And don't forget the increased fees recipe. White axe plus yellow rustic sash plus 1 whetstone. Start with frost blades and slot. Add any DPS gem you like in first act. Then melee fees in act 2. Try Herald of Fire if you really want more clear. Switch to Bladestorm melee fees close combat. Rage in act 3. Add Brutality in act 4. And get rid of everything elemental. 6 slot will be too mana hungry, but you can take Pulverize or faster attacks. Considering any other gems, get them when they become available to you, and level in secondary weapons and free slots. Even 4 link should suffice for all the acts. Feed from the land, and don't forget to use crafting bench for easy res fixes. Switch to Lacerate somewhere in the 60s when you can equip a good siege axe. If you already have leveling gear, it is very simple. Tabular Goldrim Black Hearts, Arakutiki Reward Wanderlust, Loctonial Caress, Praxis of No Mana, Lehub of Horus, Maginord's Girdle, Belt of the Deceiver, Lacosida, Crest of Perandus, Redbeaks, Screaming Eagle, Griffin. The Griffin can easily let you level carefree up to 60 until you get your big siege axe. Very juicy. That tree. The tree is simple and cookie cuttery. You can either go for the final tree right from the start, or for the fast resolute technique through strong arm if you have a fresh start and no damage. You'll need to respec it later. When ascending, you always start with challenger charges. They are juicy. And then you go bam, bam, and bam. You respect them after Uberlab for the versatile combatant. And you'll miss them. And before I wrap things up, I'll answer some burning questions. How does this build work in maps? Pretty good actually. Any gladiator has decent clear because of built-in blitz explosions. You'll just need a normal Flask setup and a 6-link. How do I even get 30C? Are you kidding me, Git? Rituals, mine, Gear's recipe, Harbingers and Valdos Rest, selling alts with a whopping 3-to-1 ratio this league. How does this build fares with upgrades? Very good. Nice scaling, smooth sailing. Below the video I have a link to 2 AA fights with different levels of gear progression. Check them out. But I wanted to cast spares. Too bad. Greenskins only engage in the most glorious form of combat, melee. But Lacerate isn't melee. You shoot waves. No, it is. Look at the tag. Also, shooting is fine, as long as the ducker is loud. Can I go for the Soul Taker? Only if you drop one. I have a wife, a dog, and 3 children. I have no time to make a new character. What now? Frankly speaking, if I were you, I would just eat them. That's it. Now master your power and kill that Awakener. With knowledge bestowed upon you, be brutal and cunning like a true gob. And go have fun elsewhere. Bye. And now, his loot is mine!